She starts to pull, and then all of a sudden you hear a snap. I was like, ow, ow. But my mom, she could see it. She says that she saw something go across my breast, and then it snapped. If my story can help at least one person, then it makes it all worth it in the end. I went to Dr. Perez in 2023 for just a implant replacement. The goal was just to swap them out. Nothing crazy. I've already had implants since I was 20. This was just gonna be a quick swap out. I'm a bikini competitor. I'm into fitness, very active lifestyle. It was not anything crazy, just your usual, 10-year swap out. We went in for the surgery and the right breast was fine, but something felt off with the left. After 2 surgeries in which something still felt off, I finally said something. I said, something doesn't feel right. My ex-boyfriend at the time jumped on a call and he's like, hey, this is not what we were promised. And that's when Dr. Perez offered to do a 3rd surgery for free. 5 days later, I go back in for what should have been a routine drain removal. The doctor does a checkup. He leaves. He has the nurse go ahead and remove the drain. She starts to pull on the drain, and then she pauses and she looks very nervous, scared. I'm gonna go get the doctor. So she leaves the room, and then she comes back and she says, nope, he told me to handle it. He doesn't want to come. She looks terrified. So I was terrified. So she starts to pull on the drain, and then all of a sudden you hear a snap. That's when the drain snapped inside of my body. Because the girl was pulling. She was pulling hard. I was like, ow, ow. She's pulling, and I remember being like, ouch, that hurts. She said, what I thought was gonna happen is what happened. It just snapped inside of you. I don't even process what's happening, but my mom does, right? Because she's standing right across from me. She could see it. She says that she saw something go across my breast, and then it snapped. And she's like, this is what I was afraid was gonna happen. So she leaves the room, and then she comes back and she says, we have to do surgery on you again tomorrow. I was booked for a 4th surgery on the left side to remove a drain that snapped inside of me. Words can't describe, is all I have to say. So I'm on FaceTime with Dr. Perez. I said, thank you so much for jumping on. I just want to ensure that everything's okay. I noticed a little redness on my breast. Can you please look at it and let me know? He looks at my breast and he says, nope, that's just your skin. That's my skin, okay. So I pause again and I said, are you sure? He doesn't even blink. He says, yes, that's your skin. I said, okay. I mean, we're taught to listen to our doctors, right? That's what we're supposed to do. That's what I tried to do, even though something still felt off. When I knew I was done, I was getting a massage when my massage therapist noticed something under my left lower breast. And that something is very terrifying. I asked him to take a photo and I sent it to my mom and I said, hey, is this normal? And she said, absolutely not. Let's call your doctor. So I go ahead and I reach out to Dr. Perez's office. I send them a photo. I said, hey guys, is this normal? They said, no, it's not normal. We need you to come in tomorrow. I show up at their office the next day and Dr. Perez is frantic, panicking. He's like, we need to remove this implant out of you. Well, first he's trying to accuse me. Everything's my fault, guys. He's like, you pushed on your implant. You did this. You created this. You went too hard, or tries to find a way to sort of put it on me. I just stayed quiet because I'm observing at this point. I'm like, this man is panicking. What's happening? But I was obviously very grateful that my mom was there to just be like, nope, that didn't happen. Nope, I've been with her every single day. Just shutting it down. He says, we need to get this implant out of you and it needs to come out tomorrow. And that's when I said the words that I think changed everything. I said, maybe we should just pause and consider other options. Maybe it's time for us to remove them. And as soon as I said that, he spiraled even more. What he was recommending was that we go back in, we remove it, and we do it again. And that's when I paused and I was like, I'm not a doctor, but this sounds like the definition of insanity. He did not like that. He's like, no, what if you're scarred? He's like, you're too young to remove your implants. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this doctor person that I'm supposed to be trusting and looking to for advice. And I'm asking him what we should do. And he's like, his answer is just like, my brain's like, this doesn't make sense. So I went back home and I started to make calls. I did research and I was able and grateful to have an amazing doctor take me on. His name's Dr. Vineyard. He's out of Port St. Lucie, Florida, and he specializes in surgeries like this, botched surgeries. And I immediately called them, I sent them a photo, and they got me a consultation for the following day. And I went in and I met with them, and guys, the difference, makes my heart feel lighter just thinking about it. The difference between a good surgeon and what I had experienced is like day and night, night and day. Dr. Vineyard and his team were absolutely amazing. From the moment that I entered their office to the moment that I left, I went into that consultation and I had never been more educated in my life. He was thorough. He explained to me everything that had been done and what he would have done differently. I just needed to feel safe, honestly. After my consultation with Dr. Vineyard, he recommended that I remove the implants and I give my body a year to heal and then come back to it. I said, Dr. Vineyard, this is what my previous doctor recommended. He recommended that we go back in and do it one last time. Why aren't you recommending that? And he said, Jackie, I could do this one last time. I don't want to. But even if I do everything different, which everything he was proposing was absolutely different than the way Dr. Perez had done it, you only have a 20% chance of it holding because your skin is so thinned from everything that's happened that I only believe there's a 20% chance that you'd be able to hold it. Your body would be able to hold the implant. Even with that 20% chance, I was like, okay, at least he's giving me a strategy that's different. So at this point, I'm booked for my surgery with the new doctor, Dr. Vineyard. And the day before my surgery, my body just gave out. I had these painful sores under my breast. And I was working the day before my surgery and I guess they popped. My top was soaked. I was like, did my implant just come out? I had no idea what it was. All I knew is that I was in so much pain. I literally took an Uber to the walk-in clinic because I was like, I don't want to open this. Like, I don't want to see what's happening. The doctor said, your sores popped and, this is very infected. And I immediately called my new doctor. I told him what had happened and immediately they told me to start taking my antibiotics. He said, okay, Jackie, things have shifted. And at this point where you're at, I'm not going to be able to replace your implants. We're going to have to remove them. And we need to clean you up and clean it all up and make sure that there's no infection. We need to get this infection out of your body, right? We need to heal you. At that point, I was just grateful to have somebody that was looking out for my body. I've had 5 surgeries on the left side. I'm just tired. I didn't want any more surgeries. Can we at least do a lift so I don't have to come back ever again? He said, nope. The biggest takeaway from this experience is do your homework, ask the hard questions, and trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, leave. When you walk into a consultation with your doctor, you should be leaving educated. If they're dismissing you, if they're pushing you away, if they're just like, you're talking too much, leave. Do not be afraid to walk away because even though you're like, oh, but I'm saving money with this doctor versus that doctor, guys, there is no price on your body. Trust me, take it from me. Choosing the wrong doctor was the most expensive decision I've ever made in all areas of my life. It cost me my time, my peace, my health. All I want is to just go back to my normal life, full days without my body hurting after 4 hours. I want to go back to the gym. I miss the gym. I just want to be healthy again. I have to be honest with you all, I did not want to share this. Every single part of me was extremely resistant. I want to move on, guys. I want to go back to normal, whatever that is. I've done a lot of work on myself. Up to this point, I've experienced other traumatic experiences in my life, such as the loss of my dad. I don't believe in reliving my trauma over and over. But the reality is, if I didn't have the foundation, the relationship with God that I have, if I didn't have other modalities such as like HUNA and breath work and other modalities that help you process trauma and heal and move forward, this would have broken me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. And I really hope that this is helpful to some of you guys. And I pray don't do what I did, okay?